Today's Saturday, pretty slow. There's not much going on. For reference, it is May 14th, 2022. And I just pulled this Silverado out here on the lot. The empty car lot, you know, a sight that we've seen for almost a year now. You know, almost a full year since we started seeing you know, the industry change a little bit, you know, due to various amounts of reasons, you know. And I've put videos up in the past, you know, talking about the 2021 new car inventory, you know, how we were running out of cars, the chip shortage, dealerships that started charging over MSRP, you know, the changes of what it was like selling cars during the chip shortage, you know, all these different topics that we started talking about really last May, June, July into the summer. We're still talking about now, and you know, as you can see, it's really no different. You know, in the last year, a lot has changed with the automotive industry. You know, how people, you know, how dealerships sell cars, how people are buying cars, ordering vehicles, and wait times and pricing, and just a tremendous amount has changed. And it's been interesting to see, you know, someone like myself being in the industry for 17, 18 years and doing things really the same way for 16 years, 17 years out of that. And then the one last year that we've just lived through being, you know, the complete opposite of everything you knew and everything you did as a dealer. It's allowed me to kind of observe different things and how people are responding to different things. And that's what this video is going to be about. Really just me kind of talking to you guys about 3 different things that I've observed happening over the last year and my thoughts on it. The first thing I noticed is, and I've always known this, but you know, in the US, we are a very car dependent society. You know, we need cars to get around for the most part, and we want cars to get around. You know, like a lot of us enjoy driving. We enjoy the freedom of getting in a car and just going where we want, when we want. You know, I saw a study earlier, I was kind of just on a computer looking at things, and it said that in 2020, 91.55% of US households had access to at least one vehicle. You know, it's a tremendous percentage. Now, obviously, if you're living in cities like New York and LA and Miami and cities like that, you know, there are ride sharing, there's public transportation, things are very close because you're in a city atmosphere, you may not actually need a car. But here I am 25 miles outside of New York City, and if you want to go to the supermarket, or you have to go to Target, or you want to go to work, or you're going to family's house, like, you need a car. You know, for the most part, you need a way to get there. And of course, there is Uber and ride sharing and things like that, but do you want to do that every day, or do you want to have the freedom to be in your own car, your own time, when you want to do it? You know, and not only do we have a dependency on cars, but we have a dependency on, a lot of times, multiple cars. So you get a family that might have a pickup truck, a family SUV like a Tahoe, Suburban, or a Traverse, and then maybe a Camaro or a Corvette, a sports car for the weekends. You know, so you have multiple vehicles. Myself personally, there's been times where I've owned 3 cars at any one moment, and one was like a beater car. It was my Cavalier that I had for close to 14 years, which was like just a workhorse car. You know, put miles on it, drive it in bad weather, you know, use that when you don't want to use your good cars. And at times I had Corvettes, I had a classic Ford, I had my Jeep, you know, so I had numerous vehicles for different purposes and different reasons. And I'm not alone. A lot of people do that. A lot of families do that. So the point being, for the foreseeable future, we here in the US are going to want, or going to actually just need, a vehicle. We're going to need transportation. The second thing I kind of observed over the last year is that, you know, because people want or have an actual need for a vehicle, they will adapt to pricing in current times. You know, about this time, I would say last year, is when we started seeing a shortage and prices became less negotiable. You know, just a supply and demand issue. You know, as the supply decreased, the demand stayed pretty much the same, the prices increased. You know, a month or 2 later, we started seeing and hearing about dealers charging over MSRP. And then on September 1st of 2021, we here at the dealership I work at started charging over MSRP. And even that price is higher than I've ever seen in my career. We've literally sold every car that General Motors would give us. You know, every car we got allocated was sold. Other than the maybe 12 or 13 cars I currently have on the lot that are available, we sold them all. You know, if we can get it, we can sell it. And let's not forget that we have multiple vehicles inbound that are already sold that haven't even been built. And we have a factory order list that's, you know, probably 40 cars long. So again, even though the supply dwindled to nothing, the demand for vehicles is still there. So how are some ways that people have adapted? Well, from what I've seen, people have bought leases out. They've bought their lease and they've kept their car, something that normally people would not do. But in the times that we're in, why pay more for something if I can buy my current leased vehicle at a rate from 2019 or 2018 and get basically a discounted price on a car that I've known from day one that probably has less miles on it than it would normally because of the pandemic and people working from home and that sort of thing. So you know what, I'll buy this car, I'll hang on to this car longer until hopefully things level off, and then I'll replace it with something. So people are holding on to their cars longer. Another thing people are doing is they're trying to find a way to make more money. You know, maybe they made more money or they started a side hustle and they can go out and they can buy the car that maybe they don't necessarily need, but the car that they want. You know, in this country, we want stuff and we want it now, and we'll find a way to get it. You know, people generally find a way. Another thing I've seen people do is they've actually reduced the amount of equipment in a car. So rather than going to that top premium model that they would normally get, they'll go to a lower equipped model with more basic features, but to keep with their budget. Now, that's a little hard to take because you can be returning a vehicle that's fully loaded for $350 a month and go into a base model with nothing in it that you're used to for $350 a month. But financially, it may be the right decision to make. And then I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that just go overboard, get in over their head and get into a car that's way too expensive and it gets repossessed. You know, so again, as humans, we adapt, we find a way to make it work for us. And it's basically the buyer who's making that decision. Yet for some reason, not just in the current times we're in now, but in my whole career, you know, in forum boards, in comments, in, you know, experiences on the dealership lot, in conversations I've had with people, dealerships were always generally looked at in a negative way. Now, granted, I get it. There was a time in the probably 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you know, before computers, before the information that's out there right now, there was a time when dealerships really took advantage. Before government intervened and capped rates at where you can charge only a certain amount, and before really regulations got involved to protect the consumer. But as we got into the 90s and into 2000, into 2010s, and now into the 2020s, you know, it's a much different market. The buyer is highly educated. You can go online and find literally anything you need to know about a car deal. Yet, even right up until before this whole change, look at this B. Come on, man. Even in the times that we're in now, how prices are inflated and dealers are charging over MSRP, and we're seeing some ridiculous stuff out there. I admit it, believe me. And I am also working with the same dealership for 17 years. So I'm sort of in a bubble. We're very straightforward. I'm very transparent in car sales. You know, we have great reputation. So I don't experience a lot of the things that dealerships do out there that are shady. But it's so easy to identify that now because everything is online. So, you know, with a little bit of research, you can become a highly educated customer, go into a dealer, be upfront and honest, basically ask for what you want. And in normal times, you would get it. You know, vehicles were highly, highly discounted prior to really the last year because it was a very competitive marketplace. And that's what brings me to like my third observation and my thoughts on where we go from here. And again, I can't stress enough that, like, I understand there are unethical practices that dealers do. I don't agree with like low, high price, low value add-ons like pinstripes for $300 and, you know, Dorge guards that you can buy at a Pep Boys for 20 bucks, maybe less, for $3.95. Like, I don't agree with that. Those are, again, they're low value, high price dealer add-ons, which are really pure profit to a dealership. But when you think about it, for a long time, dealerships, like, and again, in my experience, our structure has been high volume. You know, sell volume. The more you sell, the more you're going to make in unit bonuses, in tier bonuses, things of this nature. Even my personal pay plan, it's based on units. You know, it was always based on sell more. If you can get to that 21st car, you're going to make X, you know, per copy, all the way back to your first car. You know, and that's how you made your money. Your money was in your bonuses because the market was so competitive. You weren't making a lot of commission on each unit. So basically, you worked harder for less money per car, but you had to do that in order to get a lot of cars for it to actually make sense and to make the money you want to make for that particular month. Now it's the complete opposite. You make, you know, more money per unit and you're doing a lot less work. So it's almost like selling 21 cars 2 years ago is like selling 12 cars now. And I think about those times in the past because, you know, a lot of those add-ons, you know, those dealership addendum stickers you would see, but all those little extras, which everyone knows is just pure profit for the dealer, were those created in response to the market where you really couldn't make profit on a car because everything was so competitive. So if you're not making money on the car itself, you know, profit on the car, how do you stay in business? And I know service departments and body shops, and that's where dealers make their money and all that sort of stuff, but the sales department should be able to make a profit as well. And with those profits so low, I imagine that a lot of that stuff was created to combat that and to fight that. And again, this is something that's going to be dealer to dealer and depending on the dealer's overhead and all that sort of stuff. And what they have to do in their business model to remain profitable and stay in business. That's what they're there for, to thrive as a business. So it's funny. It almost feels like there was a correction to the market, because it doesn't make sense that you can't make money on cars. And if you go online, you watch all the gurus out there that tell you, they're going to tell you how to basically drain every ounce of profit from a dealership in every which way you could. And if they're not willing to do that, to just walk. That's what was done 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Now it's the opposite, in that there's no supply, there's still a demand, so the dealerships are in control, and the pendulum swung probably too far the opposite way, because now you see cars with like ridiculous markups, and it's just insane what's going on right now. So I guess my hope as a salesperson, and also as a car buyer, as a vehicle buyer, I hope when that pendulum swings back the other way, which it most likely will, it meets and ends up somewhere in the middle. We don't have to go all the way back to where we were, which is going to be, the customer, the buyer's responsibility to make sure it doesn't. And it doesn't have to swing to the far side like it is now, which is the dealership's, responsibility to make sure, to find that nice spot in the middle where deals can be negotiated and, both customer and dealer can be happy. I could probably literally talk about stuff like this for hours, and so I don't want to bore you with this video. I just kind of felt like putting my thoughts out there, again, on a slow Saturday when there's not too much going on, not too much to sell. It's one of those slow days. I guess the last thing I would touch on is there's so many people out there rooting for the ending of the dealership era as we know it. They want to buy straight from the manufacturer, cut out the dealership, the stealership, the guys who rip us off, and all the bad people that are out there that are part of the dealership network, which is really just a stereotype, because we're not all bad. I can tell you that literally every one of my customers that leaves here leaves happy. I don't put a lot of pressure. I offer what I can offer, and the customers at that point can decide what they want to do. Do they want to buy it, or do they not want to buy it? But for the people out there that are looking and excited and wanting the crumbling of the dealership network as we know it, what really is that going to do? Is that going to help? Is that going to help you save money in the future? Because it's like all the videos are about saving money. Well, now you can't save money because everything's inflated. If it goes to being where you buy direct from the manufacturer, and you cut out what could be a competitive dealer network, you're giving all the power to the manufacturer to control both the price of the cars, the vehicles, and also the supply of the vehicles. And as we know, a lower supply means a higher price. So they can literally control the market of cars. They also don't have to discount the cars because they're not competing with anybody else. Now they're competing like Chevy to Ford to Toyota, but that's a lot less competition than a bunch of dealerships, hundreds, or what does Chevy have, 3,000 to 4,000 dealerships out there competing for your business. So I don't necessarily understand, and I kind of find it comical and funny that the people that are complaining about dealerships ending and complaining about the way dealerships operate have dealt with dealerships in the last, 20 years that have really done nothing but discount cars. So you're going from a negotiable item where you can get savings to an item that you'll just pay whatever that price is on that car with no questions asked, just like you do with Tesla. Tesla raises its prices, it is what it is. Tesla charges you MSRP for the car, or whatever they call it, their total price, it is what it is. And it looks like manufacturers will probably go that direction in the future. I see it happening before the end of the decade. It just sort of makes more sense. They're going to take the profits and put them right in their pocket. Again, this is just my perception. I'm a car salesman. I have a limited amount of knowledge just based on what I experience here at the dealership, that I work for, and the way I deal with my customers and all that. And it's all positive. So, I look forward to seeing what happens in the industry. It's going to be exciting. There's a lot of stuff that's going to happen, I think, within this decade. I think the one thing that's for sure and for certain is that we here in America are still going to want our cars. We're still going to need our cars, and we're still going to have to buy our cars from somebody. So just, be careful what you wish for. You give too much power to one entity and you lose the control, you lose the negotiating power that you have. But maybe that's what people want. Maybe people just want to know that everybody pays the same thing and it's fair that way, versus this person may have paid a little less than me, or I paid more than him, or whatever the case may be. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Let's have a conversation in the comments. What I thought about doing is actually, depending on the comments I get in this video, making a video response to those comments. I think that could be something that would be a little bit of fun. In the meantime, let me hop back inside here. It is about 1:30 in the afternoon, so we have a couple more hours that we're here. Somebody just pulled up on the lot. They're looking at an Equinox, so I'm gonna go walk over there, approach them, say hello, and see if I can sell a car today.